Mnie zawód Nicolas. I jego zawód Josh Long. Applaus. Mi radi mi сейчас. Okay, let's cut the crap. This is enough crap. So, who is here for the John Davis talk? Great, you are in the wrong place. Stay, because John Davis is unfortunately not there, but I guess you won't be disappointed if you stay there. So I have been proposed by Josh to do a joint Spring Boot and Vaadin talk.
It's gonna be awesome. Awesome. You're gonna poop yourself. It's gonna be so good. Which one is mine? I'm not sure which.
I won't lie to you. It's a little
rough,
unorganized, rough, yeah. Around the edges, but yeah, we try to be amazing speakers. So I hope you won't get disappointed.
Well, I might. Let's see. We'll keep this here just in case I want to cheat.
So Josh, what's the point of today's live coding with Spring Boot and Vaadin?
Well, I want people to see how awesome this stuff is, and slides suck. Okay, let's see.
So we will be trying to create a Spring Boot Vaadin application in front of you. And
live and in place. Okay, shall we get started? Is it time, or I don't even know?
It's time.
Is it? Really? Really? How long do we have? When does this thing stop?
45.
But when, from when? So it's 11 o'clock. So till 11:45?
45.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just go till 11:45. And good. Right. So you are who?
Yeah, hi guys. So I'm the guy who is always talking about Vaadin at JEEConf. You probably saw me last year trying to sell you the Vaadin web framework.
Oh.
You probably saw me at Java Day, Kiev, trying to sell you again the Vaadin web framework. And guess what? I'm here again, trying to sell you the Vaadin web framework again. But this time it's even better because it's integrated with Spring.
He was so good that he sold it to me, and I wasn't even in his talks. That's how good he was.
And so, who are you?
My name is Josh. How many of you were unlucky enough to be in my previous talk? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Right, before we get started, again, very important business. Can you guys say open source? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's money right there. Good stuff, thank you. I'm Josh. If you have questions, if you have comments, you have confusion, those are email and Twitter. Well, that's my email, Nicolas. What the hey?
I didn't provide any email. I don't want spam, so just tweet me.
Man, no love. Well, I'm here. I love you guys. So send me email if you have comments or questions or feedback, and I'll send it to him. Okay? Right. So Nicolas, this is going to be you, man. This guy is the author of a book on Vaadin, a long-time amazing, contributor to the community. So he's going to guide you through why Vaadin.
So if you never attended the Vaadin talk, who knows about Vaadin? Oh, so few.
Me too.
Oh, okay. So for the guy who don't know about Vaadin, basically, until Vaadin, what you did in Java UI was basically act together GSPs, and by doing that, you had to use a servlet API, but you also had to use GSP, GSTL, taglibs, JavaScript, and then you had to act the DOM and do some CSS stuff. Who knows everything about it?
Can I ask a question? How many of you are males? Males? Okay. And how many of you have ever been kicked? There? So, okay, now, not related, completely different. How many of you have ever used JSP? I'm just wondering. Okay. So the correlation there, the overlap, it's not quite. As you know, if you've been using JSP, it is the most painful thing a male can ever feel. Probably for a female too. Most painful ever.
So my experience has taught me that first GSP events, GSP fragments are barely reusable, and we are doing object-oriented stuff. So normally we should reuse components. The only way to reuse GSP fragment is to put them into a WAR file called a resource WAR, and then use Maven WAR overlay. And it's very painful because you just override your GSPs. And so we want to use components. We want to use event-driven application. We want to use single-page application because the page itself is not meaningful. Pages were meant for website, not for application. When you're using Excel or when you're using Word, you're not trying to change the screen by typing a new URL. You're not trying to bookmark anything. You're just, clicking on icons and buttons and typing your stuff. So why should we use the request-response model? And Vaadin has all that. And Vaadin
what does Vaadin mean?
So Vaadin, who knows what Vaadin means?
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. So many of you will be able to shine at parties by telling people that Vaadin is a female reindeer.
Finnish from
in
Finland.
Finnish.
See, look at that.
And I'm not into Finnish mythology, but it seems it's also the name of a goddess.
Oh, I don't know. It just tastes good.
10 extra points for this extra trivia.
So, anyway, moving on. Speak to the slide.
So the thing is, I suck at front-end development. I really suck. So I knew JavaScript 10 years ago. I hacked CSS 10 years ago. I could do decent screen 10 years ago. But now, all frameworks and with JavaScript and stuff, and it's not only the technologies themselves are quite hard to get by, and if you add the frameworks to that, it's really quite horrible. So what I'd like my team and myself to do is to continue using something I know and I care for and gives me power, such as strong typing, and I call it Java. What I would like is that I type everything in Java, it's compiled in bytecode, and then I get HTML out of it.
And JavaScript.
And JavaScript, of course.
The assembly of the web.
And so by looking at the HTML page, probably, or at the GSP fragment, you probably have no clue what happens behind the scene. Here we see a code snippet, and even people who don't know nothing about Vaadin understand there is a text field, there is a button, both are added to some layouts, and when you click on the grid button, something happened and is displayed. And it is the value of the field. Here you can see exactly what is generated, and you can also see that by default, Vaadin uses Ajax behind the cover, which means since it's a single page application, you've got one big initial load, and when I say big, not so big, and then afterwards, it's just Ajax behind the cover that is sending very small snippets, so a little more than 200 bytes to click on a button. And here you can see, can you just get back?
Sorry?
You can see that, we are using Java 8 lambdas, and it's quite event-driven. You don't have to think about the request and the response. You are just thinking what in a real application would happen. So when the button is clicked, something is sent to the server, and something gets back. And in this case, it's a notification is displayed. So it's very, very easy to understand, even if you don't know nothing about it.
Okay.
And of course, that we all like. We've got something which is clean out of the box, because as I said, my front-end development skills quite suck, and it's very productive.
Okay, that's enough slides. So let's talk about the integration here. The reason we're both here is because an amazing thing happened about a year ago, in 2013. I was asked by my friends on the Vaadin team, hey, do you want to do a webinar with us? We'll do a webinar. It'll be about how to use Spring with Vaadin. And I've known these guys for many years. They're really nice people, but I didn't know all that much about Vaadin. And to be honest with you, I assumed that given that the technology has been around for many years, Vaadin is actually like, what, 10 years old now?
Yeah, 10 years old.
It's now based on GWT, on GWT from Google. But years before, it was different technology, but still, same approach, right? Object-oriented, clean approach to building apps. Oh yeah, good stuff. Spasiba. So, this technology has been around for many years, and I thought, well, surely, it's easy to use Spring from Vaadin because Spring is the thing, you know? Spring is the thing, right? It's everywhere. So I thought this would be easy. And I said, okay, great, I'll be happy to do a webinar. They wanted to talk about using Spring and Vaadin together. And I figured they already knew most of it. They just wanted me to introduce Spring Boot and to spend a few minutes talking about Spring Framework 4, which is going to come out. So I get on the phone call, and this is like 3 days before the webinar, and I asked them, well, what are you guys going to talk about? What are you going to say in the webinar? And they said, well, we were going to say that Spring was this great thing from 2005 that you could use to run multiple applications on legacy servers. But today it's not really used, which of course is just complete like BS, you know? So I said, well, I think maybe you should let me show you some of the new stuff. So I showed them Spring Boot, okay? So Spring Boot, how many of you have ever used Spring Boot? Okay, well, over the next 3 days, the Vaadin team and I started an integration, a Spring and Vaadin integration. And that integration is actually very powerful. Over the last year and a half, amazing, much more qualified, much more talented people like Nicolas here have contributed to it and made it amazing, okay? So we did in 3 days just a little bit of code, and then the community added to it. And so now using Vaadin from Spring Boot is easier than using Vaadin any other way, you see? They liked it so much that they have now taken their existing Vaadin CDI-based integrations and their existing projects. Some of them have been moved to Spring Boot, right? So not only do they like it now and they prefer to pitch it and talk to people about it, but the Boot integration for Vaadin is the most powerful of the integrations.
Perhaps it's time to show them.
Let's show them, right. So let's start first with some code. So
will you start from Spring.io?
I will, as usual. Good point. So we're going to build a simple application today, just to kind of show how things work. I want to show you both. Well, first let's use Spring Boot. So we're going to go to start.spring.io. This is what I did last time, okay? So start.spring.io. Whoa, okay. And I'm going to choose two choices, jar or war, okay? Now, I'm going to choose jar. I'm a big believer in jar.
So little comment about this, you should definitely not adequate Spring Boot with only embedded jar.
That's true.
I have had the question yesterday. Basically, by using Spring Boot, you can either use an embedded jar, which uses the Tomcat embedded container, but you can also create normal wars and don't disturb your operational teams and still provide them with wars.
But I'm a big believer in using jars. This is in keeping with my philosophy of make jar, not war, okay? Now, you say we should not disturb the operational team. I think you should disturb them a lot. You should slap them. I think anybody who needs a war should try to read, to educate themselves a little bit on what has happened in the last 15 years. So yes, if through some sort of weird physics, some anomaly based on physics, if you are in 2001, again, this is weird, it's not gonna happen to many of you. If you are in 2001, then you should choose war. But since I think most of you are in 2015, today, here with me and with Nicolas, you're awake, you're happy, choose jar, okay? Again, make jar, not war. Is that okay? Good stuff? Good. So this is a much simpler way to deploy. Remember, I can take a jar and attach it to an email, and then I can send that to my grandparents, And my grandparents can run it because they can run applets. So Java minus jar, and it's running. If your operations team struggles with this, have them call my grandparents, and they can help, okay? Now, again, you have different versions of Java you can choose, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. Which one would you choose?
Let's be a little heroic. Let's choose 1.8.
Right. Now, show of hands, my friends. How many of you are using 1.6? 1.6? Okay, okay. I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to put this right here, right there. 1.6 has been end of life for years. Security updates are the only thing you can expect. Now, what about 1.7? How many of you are using 1.7? Okay, ditto. Ditto, same thing. It's also just security updates from here on down. So, again, tell those operations people that they should not expose your applications to security threats and vulnerabilities and to bad code. They should move everything to Java 1.8. If they're using a jar and not a war, then it doesn't matter which application server they're using because you're not using it at all. So even if WebSphere is stuck on 1.6 or something, or 1.7, you can still use Java 1.8 with a jar, okay? So jars are a good way of avoiding security vulnerabilities. Just think of it like that. So Java 1.8, because you care about security. That's why you should do 1.8. What else? So I want to build a application that's going to talk to a database. I'll use JPA, right?
And look, the interesting stuff, there is a Vaadin checkbox now.
Right. This is where the power of open source comes in, right? So we're going to choose Vaadin. And I'm going to use an embedded database, H2, good. And I'm going to build something very, very simple to talk to the database. And then we're going to build a UI. And this is where I'm going to need my friend Nicolas' help here, because the UI, you know, you can tell I'm not that smart, so I really need help. Let's see. So first, take this code.
So since Josh has an American keyboard, he will do the typing, he will be my slave.
Yes.
And for the user, yeah, he loves it. And I will direct him how to do stuff when he doesn't.
Yes, which is most. So here we go. We're going to first build something to talk to the database. Okay, that part I can do. I've got this. I'm ready to go. So this is our build. It has the Vaadin Spring Boot integration. It has an embedded in-memory database in this case, but you can use whatever you want. We have the Vaadin BOM, the Bill of Materials. Bill of Materials. That's an aggregate. It's an umbrella to group everything, okay? And then we have the Spring Boot Maven plugin. And we have our demo application. And I want to deal with data of type customer, okay? So I'm going to say, great, let's create an application to deal with customer records. And it's going to be a JPA entity, so I'll say @entity like this. And I'll say private long ID and private string first name, and private string last name. Great, nothing fancy. Okay, okay.
Who is using Hibernate directly? Okay, interesting.
Who's using something else that scales? Yeah, like Mongo or Cassandra or Redis or Gemfire or Hadoop or Couchbase or DocumentDB or OrientDB or Neo4j or, I mean, you know, really almost anything would do better. Almost anything. Literally anything.
Don't get distracted.
I'm sorry.
We're here to do enterprise thing with GPA.
Fine. Enterprise, okay. Enterprise. Good. So, I'm going to build some customer constructors. Why? This is for JPA. Okay, that's for JPA. It's because we care.
This is enterprise stuff.
Good. That should be more stable now that it's an official plugin, though, right?
Yeah,
and then
now you have to extend UI, so you have to implement the init method, and the init method will be the entry point into the UI.
Okay.
So it will be what will be shown. So perhaps we can.
But what is the UI in Vaadin?
So the UI in Vaadin is basically what is shown when you open the browser. It's all the window and up to the border.
Is it a request Or is it session, or is it application scope? I mean,
So
beans in Spring have scopes.
yeah, that's true. And in this case, since UI will be a bean, it will be tied, it will be bound to each user session. So basically, there will be one such UI. You can add more, but it's not considered very good to have one single UI per session. And the Spring Boot Vaadin add-on just does that.
Okay, and there's a custom scope for that as well, right? So good.
Yeah.
Do we need anything else on top of this?
Do we need, sorry?
Anything else besides the Spring UI annotation?
I think that will be
Theme
enough.
Okay. Spring component, just making sure.
Yeah, let's
Theme.
see nodes.
So what about this?
Yeah, so here we can set the default, the theme, which is a newest theme by with Vaadin 7 dot something. Otherwise, you will have the default theme for the version 7, which must be Runo or Reindeer. I think it's Runo.
So we don't need that. So this is optional then. I don't need that, right?
Yeah, we don't need that if
Okay,
you don't
let's
want
leave it
it. It just looks nice.
Okay, let's leave that off for now. Okay, so what are we going to do now? I want to actually build a way to display the data. So what's the first thing I would put in here?
So what you have to say is, what do you want to display? And by doing that, you will need the set content method. So calling send content, you can perhaps create a new label saying hello JEEConf, and this will be our content for the moment. And we can just display it like that.
So I'm going to create a component of type what?
In this case, we might create a component, but just create instantiating a new standard label will be enough.
For now, okay.
Yeah, new label, and you set the label hello JEEConf or whatever you want.
So we can run that.
It's perfect.
Okay. Up and running, hello world.
And I hope it works.
Me too, man. Me too.
So guys, I heard that Ukrainians are very religious people. If you'd like us to succeed, please.
There you go.
Prayer.
There's this. Okay, so it's working. Not bad. Yes. I wouldn't mind if it looked a little better. Actually, that's not very great.
So it has been 20. Yeah, okay. It has been 30 minutes, and we have hacked a very simple Vaadin application while talking. So you can probably do better.
What about now? I want to actually build a grid. I've added the style. I've added the theme. It looks a little bit better. Now, how do I build a table or something to show the data?
Okay. Instead of a label, let's add a table.
Okay.
So
what first?
You would instantiate a table.
Table, okay. Customer table.
Yeah.
Like that.
New table. So how do we initialize our table? Probably we want to read from the data. So let's have an empty label and create a data source, a container data source, and in this case it will be the GPA container.
So how do I get that into my build here?
We need to add something or not, I don't remember.
Let's find out. I think we do. I never know anymore. Nobody tells me these things. Let's see.
I think if we have GPA, it will be enough.
Okay. Don't we?
Or not.
I thought we needed that plugin or something. Yeah, there we go. The container.
Or not.
Okay. So we're going to add the Vaadin add-in. There's a lot of different add-ons. That's one of the nice things about Vaadin is that even if you want to build something and it's not provided out of the box, the community is huge. And they write it, they get the code reusable and workable, and then they package it up, and then you can use it, okay?
That's very true, and you can, if you are interested, you can see the Vaadin directory where you can search for add-ons. And you have many add-ons. Some are component add-ons, some are new themes, some are regarding the database,
right.
And some are completely, whatever.
So, what about a container? What kind of container do I need?
So in this case, since we are using GPA, we will need the GPA container. There are other containers that are available. If you don't have any GPA entity already, the simple JDBC container is more than enough.
So how do I get one?
GPA container.make, if I remember, factory.make.
Okay. And I'm going to say customer.class, and I need a entity manager.
Oh, that's good, because Spring Boot provides one for us out of the box.
With dependency management. That's awesome. So here we go. No. Okay. So we're using just, the standard JPA idiom there. We're saying inject the entity manager. Great. And this will be there. Now what? I pass that in here, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we can either directly add the component or create a new layout for new components to be laid out. So we create a vertical layout.
Okay.
And instantiate it in the constructor with the table.
Oh, okay, custom table.
Customer table, yeah. And then we say set content on vertical layout. And if you want this to be nicer, we can also say vertical layout, set width, set full size.
Set full size?
Set size full, yeah.
Okay, like that?
Yeah. And we can also add margins and spacing inside.
Set margin, true.
Yeah, and set spacing. So for people like me with very low CSS skills, this is more than enough to get something nice out of the box.
Can I run it? Is this enough to
this
see
is
something
enough.
work? Okay. So this is going to talk to the same entity manager that our JPA code up here is going to talk to. So they're going to know about each other. Okay, here we go. Now what? Okay, not bad.
Does it work?
It works. That's not bad, right? If I can do that. And it does, the usual thing, sorting and all that. But what about these columns? And
so out of the box, it just took the table, the GPA entity, and displayed it in a very nice way. But of course, probably we don't want to have those labels. So probably we can change the label first. What do you think, Josh?
We should. Now, I don't want to have code. I don't want to have strings in my code if I can avoid it. So I'm going to use Spring's internationalization support, right? Spring has got very, very good support for internationalization. By default, Spring Boot will look for a messages resource bundle. So I'm going to say messages, and I could say messages you create or whatever, or en or whatever. But for our case, I'm just going to do properties. And I'm going to put in some labels in here. The first thing is, I think we need labels for the columns. So first name column, maybe. And then it'll be first name. Last name column.
I think that a single one is more than enough just to impress our audience.
I know, but thoroughness, man. Okay, ID column, good. So there we go. So now, goodbye to this. And I need to actually set the column names. How do I do that?
I think that you have to go into the table.
Okay.
After, it has been initialized and set column header.
Oh, nice.
And we use a property. So the first property is first name.
Okay.
And now you have to set what you want the string, the label to be.
Right, okay. So we need to inject the message source. There's a lot of you can actually just inject it using @autowired, but there's a callback here as well to make it more explicit. And I'm going to say to Spring, give me the internationalization message source. Okay. And this will be called when Spring starts up. And I'll have a callback there. And now I can say this.messageSource.getMessage first name column. And I need to pass in the parameter. In this case, there's no argument. So there we go. And I need a locale. So I can just... let's see, create a locale here, just to cheat. Locale.get default, that's fine. Use whatever you want, right? You can inject the servlet request, right, and get it from there if you want.
So even though Vaadin tries to isolate you as much as possible from the servlet API, it lets you it gives you hooks if you really need it, and getting the locale is one such use case where you need to get it. But given the limited time,
So that didn't work. Sad. So sad. First name column. Did I do this wrong? First name column.
You didn't pray it good enough, guys.
Really? I don't know. I'll buy that, sure. First name, messages. Wait, when in doubt, always check the config.
When in doubt, reboot.
Messages, my friends. Sad. Messages, plural.
So that's a lesson for you. Even the best of us can fail.
Well, when you meet the best of us, let me know. But in the meantime, all you have is me and him. So that's not good. Okay. There we go. That's much better. So now we're using internationalization. It's been around for 10 years. Very, very powerful. But it's on the client, right? So this is JavaScript being rendered. The Java is being compiled into the bytecode of the web, JavaScript. Okay?
Josh, I don't like exposing my primary key to the client. It really sucks.
How do we get rid of that, my friend?
Then let's use the set visible column.
Okay, I can do that.
And you can say customer table dot set visible column, and then you can pass the array of property you want to see. So it's an array. It's an array. Oh, okay.
Yeah. What else do I want?
Yeah, it's enough. First, it's enough.
Good.
So with using set visible column, you can choose the columns you want to display as well as reorder.
Okay, so I could have done it the other way around and it would have been matched. I want to have a button or something so I can actually work with this data. What do I do now? How do I add an extra column? Synthetic one.
Let's say hello to our customers. Let's create an extra column, and with a button, when you click on the button, it will say hello. So
what do I do now?
Let's add a generated column.
Okay, I can do that. What does this take?
It takes a column generator, but the good thing with column generator is that it's a single method interface. So perhaps you want to use your beloved lambdas.
Oh, baby. Okay. So this is the original contract, column generator, item, and column ID. But through the miracle of Java 8 lambdas, which is also better for your security anyway, I'm going to get rid of all this nonsense. Good. Much better. So that is what we're going to do instead. And then what do I have to return?
So we have to return either a string. So if you return a string, it will be embedded into a label, but we won't be able to click. And in Vaadin, of course, buttons are our beloved target for clicking. So you want to return a button.
Not this one. What about this one? Okay. New button. Now what? What's the caption?
You can say click me for the moment.
Okay. Okay. Locale. And okay. Click. Yeah. Click me.
And here, as a single example, we will use a very simple behavior. So we will again create a lambda to add a click listener. But I encourage you to use dedicated classes.
Okay. What now? What is the? How do I show a message or something?
So there is something called notification .show.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
And by default, it will be a very simple message, which is a humanized so-called message, because you don't need to click or do anything. It will just disappear when you move the mouse.
So I'm going to say hello. I'm going to pass in the ID of the row. How do I get the ID of the customer?
So now it's a little more complex because we want to get the name of the customer.
Right.
So we already have the source table, and we can write source dot get item and passing the item ID.
Okay.
And that will get us the item, the customer. So it's not a string, it's a customer itself. But for now, it's an item. It's an item.
Well, it's an item? Can I just cast a customer? That's even better.
Yeah, but...
then I can just dereference it, right?
No, it's an item, so you have to just create an item for now.
Okay. So now what?
Yeah. And you don't need to cost it, yeah. So at this point, we can do customer item dot get item property and pass the first name property, for example. First name property. No, you want the ID? No, I don't like the ID.
Okay. First name. Good.
Okay, and this gives us a property of type string.
Oh. Okay.
You can, yeah, it's a generic.
Okay, now what?
now we've got the first name, we can display it if it's final. No, we get value, yeah. We'd have to say it's final to reference it just below.
Java 8 doesn't need that, so.
Really?
Nope,
okay,
effectively final. So that'll do. So I'm gonna pass in a message and I'll say, hello, like that. Okay. And that'll do it, it looks like, I think. What else do I need? Unexpected token. Oh, that. Good. So I've got a button. It's going to do the right thing. Yeah, I have to return something. What do I return? The button?
The button returns nothing. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
That should work.
Good.
Okay. Let's restart and see what happens. I'm a little nervous.
Guys, this is the last demo, so please be with us.
Nope. I need a new column.
You created the new column. No, yeah. In set visible column, you have to say hello. Here. Yep.
Hello?
Yeah.
Because that's what I passed in up here, right? It said add generated column hello.
So by using the same string, you can overwrite the formatting of the column, or you can add new column if they don't exist.
There we go. So now, very, very simple data grid. I could do a lot more from here, right? I could do WebSockets and event bus stuff. I could do security. All of this has, integrations with Spring mechanisms like Spring Security. I can use the WebSocket support in Vaadin. I can build mobile apps with Vaadin's UI stuff for the mobile world. I can do, MVP and all this other stuff that is very, very good for quickly building UIs that look consistent. I don't know. So this is not something I would use on like Google.com, right? This is something I'd use in my internet or my sort of departmental app. I want to get something up and running. Is that fair?
If you've got business application, Vaadin is probably your most preferred technology, your first choice. And now you have no reason not to use it because, it integrates with Spring and even with Spring Boot.
Oh yeah. So what do we
go from here?
Yeah, where do we go from here? Next steps.
The next step is probably to say thanks to these guys and to ask for questions.
Spasiba, my friends. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We are both very happy to answer any questions you may have. If you have them. I have questions, and I was paying attention. So I hope you do too. Yes, sir. Go for it.
I can measure performance and say that this script needs to be changed in order to make performance more cool. How about this approach? Can we say that this Vaadin can allow us to say that this is the most coolest implementation and we can't make it more faster? Thanks.
Yeah, you can always make it faster, but if you have JavaScript developers that are better than the GUID developers themselves,
from Google,
probably they can work there.
So the question was, how do you make it faster? And
there
are ways to do it, right? But you can tune, you can profile. Is that true? That's nice, actually, because it's all just Java, so you can actually debug and all that stuff.
So you are compiling bad code, and what you are doing during your interaction is sending AJAX requests, and those are, really customized to be really, really fast by the GUID people. So as I said, you can probably make them faster, but I don't have the skills, you don't have the skills, and I don't know many people who have the skills. And really now we should stop talking because I see many gestures from the organizers.
Any more questions? Anybody? I have questions and I was paying attention. If you don't have questions, that's fine, but thank you so much. Okay. That was fun, buddy.